This is the Active Life Podcast. Welcome back to the show.
Hello.
How you doing, Cody?
Great.
Increasing lifetime value for a client comes down to a few things. And there is one major source that I believe most coaches are missing and frankly don't ever even consider. You do an exceptional job of this at the flagship. And you do an exceptional job of helping all of our students learn how to do this. And typically what we find is that it dramatically increases their confidence on the front end of a sale. And it dramatically increases the confidence of the client during the sale. Mm-hmm. Can you walk us through why having a client journey is so crucial for all parties involved and how it benefits everyone?
Yes. So one of the visuals that came to my mind is, you've talked about this before, I believe. If you think about the intersection between cost and value, people say yes to something, to an opportunity, if they believe that the value dramatically exceeds the cost. Mm-hmm. At the point in time when, as time goes on, the value keeps going lower and lower, and then the cost stays stable or it decreases. When those things crisscross and then the cost exceeds the value, someone decides that this thing's no longer worth it for me.
Right.
So what happens a lot of the time when we start this one-on-one relationship or any sort of coaching relationship is the client comes in with a specific goal that also has in their mind some sort of specific end. And the professional, the coach, the trainer, just wants to keep them as a client as long as possible. So already we have an oppositional relationship.
This whole idea of like client retention, how do you get your clients to be sticky? Mm-hmm. Like how do I get them to stick around as long as possible?
Forever.
Right.
So be the last trainer you ever work with.
Why is that oppositional?
Because again, they want to solve this problem and be done with that.
I see.
They're not coming into it thinking, you know what, I want to work with this person for the next 30 years of my life.
Right. Some might, but
Sure.
most don't.
Some might get there as we go too.
Right.
And that's okay. Look, we tell clients all the time at the flagship, on the discovery call, I tell them, look, our goal is to help you so completely and fully achieve your goals on the timeline that we agree is appropriate so that you can make the decision you might want to continue to work with us, but you shouldn't need.
You look, I have a client right now that I've been working with for 6 months, and I have another couple that I've been working with for 8 years. And it's because we're consistently inspired to do the next thing together.
Yep. Exactly.
So that's what you're talking about with respect to want, not need.
Yes. You're finding the next goal, the next mountain to climb.
Okay, so it's oppositional if you try to get them to figure out how to be a client forever because they want to solve a problem and you're trying to figure out how to keep their business.
Yes. So by having a journey and by having a very clear understanding between coach and client of when we move on to the next phase of this journey, how long this phase is going to take approximately, you're not going to know in the beginning exactly. You can provide them with a range. This would take us 40 to 50 sessions. This would take us 4 to 6 months. And then we're going to then do this. And this is how we're going to know when this is done. And then we move on to this.
So there's this inherent value in the client seeing that you see an end in mind.
Yes.
Say more on that.
Well, what it does for them is it lets them know that you're thinking about how do I get them to achieve the goals over here that they've said, and the goals over here are the goals that they've said are important to them, the things that they want to achieve and accomplish. It gives them some sort of a frame on the time, the frequency, the duration. How long is it going to take for me to actually get to this thing? What's the support?
Why is that important for people to understand?
For clients to understand?
In general, just like between you and I, like why do you perceive that that's important for people to see?
Because why
does that help people?
No one sets a goal and is like, yeah, someday I hope that this happens.
Yeah. Well, you're reminding me of what I remember hearing a lot when I was interning in Sean's clinic. And I remember whether I was in the waiting room, I heard someone in the waiting room or whatever it was, I can't count the number of times that I heard, how long will this take about? It's like one of the most important things. The first was actually how long it's going to take. The second was what's this end up going to be costing? And so it sounds like for you, this idea that people understand you're not in it to just squeeze whatever you can from them. You're there to actually give them a solution with an end in mind where they're officially no longer a client and they're free to choose, do I want to continue this or not? But not that they're on the hook for this forever with no end in sight.
It holds us both to the promise that we make in the beginning.
I also think that it makes it easier for someone to commit to that.
Yeah. Yeah. If they're thinking, okay, all right, I got to work it out in my head that this phase is going to take this long, this one this long, in 12 months, 18 months, 6 months, I'm going to be at the top of the mountain. Okay, I can see that. Now, you're going to have some people in that scenario who are like, look, I can only think about the next 90 days. That's okay. Like, have the coaching conversation with them. But look, I'm going to paint the picture for you. We're going to focus on the next 90 days. But I want you to know the end that I see in mind for us.
So the thing about this accountability that you're describing, the value of having a client journey, why it makes the client more confident starting with you, why it makes you more confident telling them to start. There's this promise that you're making, this intention that you're stating that you are now accountable to. And the client is now expecting, I'm going to sign up for this thing where by this date I can mark on my calendar that Cody's team is going to do their job and free me from this thing. It's powerful.
Sometime in the next 7 to 9 months or 11 to 13 months or whatever it is, we fully accomplished and resolved the limitations. We fully accomplished the goals.
How do you see most people going about this? Like, what does it look like if you don't have a journey?
If you don't have a journey, you can start with a framework. Like, what's your intake process?
No. I want you to show us what bad looks like. Like, what are most people doing who don't have journeys?
Oh, yeah. Got it. So what they're saying is something like, okay, cool. So we're going to sign up for 12 sessions, 24 sessions, 48 sessions. We're going to commit to that. And then when we get done with those sessions, we'll do some more if you haven't achieved the goal yet. And then we'll just keep doing that until we get to the thing.
We'll see. We'll take it from there.
Exactly. We'll see how it goes. If clients say that or prospects say that in the room, we don't enroll them. If they're like, I want to do 12 sessions and see how it goes, we stopped enrolling. We did that in the beginning. We stopped enrolling clients who say that because we're not a try it and see how it goes.
Well, what was that? What was the problem with that?
The problem with that is they would create this expectation in their imagination of the results or the success that they're going to achieve in 12 sessions. And indefinitely, we would not match that expectation because their expectation is that, okay, I'm going to do 12 sessions. It's going to take me 4 to 6 weeks. I'm going to see this dramatic change. So I went to, okay, look, I will have this conversation with you about as long as we can set some very clear success criteria in 12 sessions, because what I want you to know is that I'm expecting that we work together for the entirety of this prescription. So let's get really clear around what success would look like for you in 12 sessions to know that this is the right thing. And if they're like, okay, got it. So the the pain that I'm experiencing, my hip is at an 8 out of 10. I'd like it to be a 2. I'm like, I can't make that promise that we're going to be able to move you that drastically in just 12 sessions. Would it be success for you if we were able to take that irritation that you're experiencing on a daily basis and get it to a 7.9? Like, they're either going to say yes or no to that. If it's a yes, it's because it gives them enough light and enough hope to see. If it's no, it's because they want something that's going to work faster, and I can't promise that we're going to do that, so I'd rather not take any of your money. Back to your original question, what does a bad version of this look like? It looks like even if you know that you can't deliver that outcome.
Yeah, start making a dent at this. It's possible.
Yeah. We'll see it. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yep. Okay.
So identifying that.
So the problem there is that you can end up with an underserved customer who's now frustrated with you. Is frustrated with how it's gone. Is frustrated with the money that they've spent. If they're not asking for a refund, at the very least, they're not enrolling again.
No.
And anyone that is in conversation with them about their experience, they don't have much good to say.
Assume that every single person that you work with knows 150 people.
Yeah.
And they're going to tell those 150 people about the experience that they have with you. I would rather somebody say, you know what, I called Active Life and we went through this conversation and he told me that I wasn't a fit and he helped me find another place, than them say, yeah, I called Active Life. We went through this process. I did 12 sessions and it wasn't really for me. It wasn't what I expected.
Didn't really get anything out of it.
I didn't get anything out of it. That's what we don't want. So I would rather not enroll somebody than to enroll them and have that be the outcome for them.
Can you walk through the right way to do this? What a client journey might look like? You don't have to get granular, but just this overview of what it looks like to actually have a client journey that you're communicating.
Yes. You need some sort of an onboarding process. We call this the assessing phase. That's the discovery call, the consultation, the first few one-on-one sessions. We need to create clarity in that onboarding process around what their goals are, whether we're the best fit to help them, what success would look like to them, and then what we believe it's going to take to get this journey started.
So this is already part of the journey. So it's them understanding from the beginning, the very first step is that we do this. The very second step is this. The third step is this. The fourth step is this. That might happen in a couple of weeks. By a couple of weeks, we will have achieved this. This is where you'll be.
Yep. That's to start. After your onboarding process, your discovery process, your assessing process, we at the flagship move into the develop process, which is the one-on-one phase. And we have a purpose, process, payoff for every single one of these phases. The purpose of the develop phase is to help the client gain the confidence, competence, and receive the education necessary to be successful. Competence, you know what to do, you know how to do it.
You mean physical and mental competence here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The confidence is very much the mental piece, the ability to walk into the thing, do the thing, and be like, okay, I started this and I was a little trepidatious. I had some fear around this, but I feel confident in my ability to execute this safely, effectively, and efficiently. Not only the exercises that we're going to do in here, but the things that we're going to tell you to do outside of the facility, right? Confidence, the education, the principles of education that we have. How does injury occur? How do we communicate around pain and irritation? What are the lifestyle factors that are going to be playing into your ability to come in today and execute on a session? That's the develop phase. For us, it's a one-on-one phase. You could create something entirely different, but have something and label it something so that you can make it sticky for them to understand exactly where they're at in your process and exactly how they can then articulate what it is that you do.
I see. So they're very, very clear on walking up the mountain is going to involve pitching my tent. It's going to involve looking into my backpack, making sure all the gear is there. The first stretch of the mountain is going to be a grassy hill. That's going to take about 2 hours to get up. We're going to rest there. We're going to have a snack. If the weather's clear, we're going to move on to the thing. It's them knowing every step of the way of what to expect, why that's the next step, what that step will achieve for them, what to do if it goes well, what to do if it doesn't, so that there isn't any question about what they're going through and why at any given step.
Yes. We don't want them to have questions because it's the gap between communication and expectation where problems occur. So if I do and we do a really good job of telling you exactly what to expect along this journey and every single step, and just like you described in that example, here's what we do now, here's what we do next, here's how long it's going to take. They have clear expectations set and the relationship can be successful.
Let's say that someone doesn't want to model anything around our journey. Is there a way that you can provide some sort of guidance that people can start to create their own?
Yeah.
What should some elements be for people that are thinking about creating their own journey?
You need to figure out what the success criteria of each of your phases are. If you have 10 phases, do you have 3? Like what are
does success criteria mean? I'm in kindergarten. What does that mean?
Great. The success criteria are the objective measurables that you're going to be able to look back on once completed and say, we've done this.
So success criteria really just means what needs to be true for you to have won.
Yes. For you to have achieved and accomplished
Did you do it or did you not?
Yep.
I see.
And here's the way that we're going to measure that.
Okay.
So figure out what you want your duration, your process to be.
Hey, it's Dr. Sean here reminding you that if you are a coach who wants to fill the gap neglected by fitness and healthcare, and you want to make a career doing it, we might be able to help you. Head to the show notes. There's a link there. You're going to click that link to download the ALP curriculum. That's the stuff that we teach to coaches over the course of 13 months to turn them into world-class professionals who never have to worry about missing a paycheck again, doing work they love to do. Go ahead and check that out, and I'll see you on the other side. Let's get you back to the show.
What's an example? What's a concrete example of a success criterion that a client might have?
Equipment. Do they understand the difference between a kettlebell, a dumbbell, a barbell? In the facility or the space that you're working in, do they know where those things are located? Do they know how they go back? Do they know what to do if that piece of equipment is already being utilized? That's a very easy in our profession. That's a very easy success criteria that moves our clients towards independence.
What's another one?
Principles of education. Can they articulate the difference? If you want to use nutrition as an example, can they articulate the difference between a protein, a fat, and a carbohydrate?
I see. So you basically have these things that say, I've done my job. if the client can ABC.
Yep.
Got it.
If it's a flexibility thing, have we resolved this issue or limitation, or do you understand how to exercise in your available range of motion without any pain or irritation?
It's a huge one. I was just thinking about this recently with a woman who was about 64. I was in casual conversation with her, and she was describing how she had worked with a bunch of trainers in the past, and she still has some aches and pains that come up here, and she feels like she always has a setback. And so I was talking to her about, well, you got some other stuff that works right now. Do you feel like you know what you can do while these things hurt? Clueless. Clueless. It's like, if I can't do the thing that I want with all of my parts, it's burn it all down. I don't do anything. And to me, I see that as a failure.
Yep. Agreed.
So one success criteria might be, if something hurts and I'm still scheduled to be able to make progress, I can audit all the other things that I can do, and I can operate safely within safe ranges.
Yep.
Nice. All right. So the first one is establish success criteria. And you said for each of the phases.
Yes.
What's this deal about phases here?
You want to have phases of this journey. Think of it like any movie you've ever watched, any book that you've ever read, the hero's journey. Like, there are parts and there are consistent phases of this journey that get them all the way to the top of the mountain. If you're climbing the mountain, there are camps. Every whatever marker that they decide they need to be at. This is the same thing. It's, hey, we're through the first phase of this journey together and we've gotten to base camp. The next thing that we need to get to is camp 2. Here's the things that need to be true for us to get to camp 2. Camp 3, top of the mountain. What are the things that need to be true, and what makes up that journey in between the camps for you?
And this just creates a bunch of clarity for the customer.
Yes. That's why it's so important. Go back to the gap between expectation and communication is where suffering occurs.
So that you basically remove opportunity for mental suffering when a client is clear on what you're doing and why from the get-go.
Yeah, they need to understand what, why, how, and exactly, specifically how you're going to be the one to help them get to all of the things that you have agreed upon are the goals for them.
Got it.
Again, we're talking about how we differentiate ourselves in the marketplace versus the people who are like, yeah, we'll just try it, and when we get there, we'll know.
Okay. What else do you want people to know about a client journey?
Sometimes we get caught up in this, like, it needs to be catchy. There needs to be a fun acronym for it.
They don't need that?
No.
Okay.
Make it make sense.
Okay. Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Make it make sense to you. Make it make sense to them. Like, test it with some of the clients that you have. If you don't have one of these things, create something like this.
Okay. So if a client is looking at you glassy-eyed as you talk about a phase, it probably doesn't make sense.
Probably not.
If they can't easily repeat back to you in their own words the purpose, the process, the payoff of the phase, it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Got it.
Again, the purpose is why we're doing what we're doing. The process is how we're going to do it. And the payoff is what you're going to have when we're done. Create those 3 things for each one of the phases that you decide you want to take your client through.
Is there a certain number of phases people need?
No, it's up to you.
Whatever feels complete.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have something. Yeah, you need at least 2. You need to have a start and an end.
Right.
You can't have just one.
Phase 1, enrollment.
Yes.
Phase 2, absolute success.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. That's helpful. What are your thoughts on linking any information about our journey for people?
Yeah, we can do that.
Look
It's
at that,
easy.
folks. Unbelievable.
Easy.
Great. I think that the one that you put together and built over time is exceptional, and I'm really excited for people to see it.
If you've got questions about it, we're really easy to get a hold of. Send us a DM. I'm happy to answer any of those questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Cody.
See ya.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Active Life podcast. If you did, please head to wherever you listen and leave us that 5-star rating. It really does go a long way. 5 stars goes a long way. Please leave them. If you're interested in working with us as a coach, remember, we help coaches from around the world build fulfilling careers, working with clients they're inspired to help so they never have to worry about being able to pay your bills again. No one's ever going to ask you if you are going to get a real job when you work with Active Life. All you have to do, head into the show notes, click the link that you find there, download our curriculum. That will give you a feel for what it is going to take for you to be successful. A team member of ours will reach out to you to find out if it's a fit for us to work together. Till the next show, turn pro.